But wait, there's more. Thanks to MGen's integration with the RATSA online system on buying your insurance from MGen, your insurance details are instantly uploaded to the RATSA system, enabling you to buy road tax immediately. Madison General Insurance Company Zambia Limited, your award-winning digital insurance provider. Avoid unnecessary movements. Buy insurance online. MGen, it's worth it.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, the 28th of January, 2026. Welcome to Diamond Live, your midweek edition of the show, where we get to run you through some of the stories making news in the country, the biggest news stories, but also we get to interact with the newsmakers. Not forgetting a chance for you to interact with us and our guests by giving us a call through the number that will be showing on your TV screen, but also you can interact with us via our Facebook page, Diamond TV Online, where we are streaming live right now. Welcome once again to the show. My name is Chimweka Chileshe.
And my name is Andrew Mwansa.
And my name is Cheswa Kapasa. Thanks a lot for making time to join us on this edition, Wednesday. I don't know why it still feels like it's still like saying 2025, but yeah, we're getting used to saying 2026. It's already coming to a month end, gentlemen.
You still feel like you're in 2025?
Well, not that I feel like I'm in 2025. It's, you know when you're speaking, like you always make mistakes about telling people good morning or evening. You know, it's that type of thing. So sometimes I feel like still saying 2025. I'm still not getting used to 2026, perhaps, as we get into February.
Well, it's because I speak to a lot of people that are in the diaspora, and so I call them. I would be speaking to someone in Atlanta, and it's probably 10 hours, and so
that's a good comeback.
And so, sometimes I get mixed up in the web of
I hope
reality.
You're doing it because there's a lot of politics going on. But suffice to say, it's good that we're talking about the mayoral election. That takes place tomorrow, the big one, and yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. I think eyes on Kasama.
I'm okay. Why do you ask? This is very strange. You had to interrupt
Funny
everything.
Thing is that I haven't greeted this gentleman.
Yeah, but you know what? So you know what's happening. So I've been down with a cold, eh?
Yeah.
So I've been introduced to like a new concoction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's like there's like turmeric in it. There's like lemons and there's. So I've got a whole thing like right next to me. I was trying to find hopefully the team will help me with a mug, but I have a flask with me right next to me here.
So there's milk?
No, not milk. There's there's lemons, cinnamon, turmeric. I forgot what else is there. So I've quite a number of things in this.
You can imagine who introduced you to this. So perhaps it's a homemade concoction.
No, funny enough,
flu shots really work.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We'll give that a shot. And well, speaking of giving it a shot, well, a lot of candidates, well, quite a number of them have given a shot in as far as the mayoral by-election in Kasama is concerned. 6 candidates contesting. Tomorrow is voting day, and we did see that the campaigning rather came to an end earlier today at 18 hours. But how have these different political parties campaigned, and how confident are they ahead of tomorrow? This is something we'll be talking about. We'll be joined by the Upnd Deputy Spokesperson, Elvis Nkandu, in just a few minutes to speak more about this. He'll be joining us live from Kasama, where he's been for a bit of some time now, campaigning for their candidate on the Upnd ticket. But as we always do, we start off the day with Today in a Snap. It's voting day tomorrow in Kasama. How will this go? We are yet to see, and something we'll be speaking about in just a few minutes. Those are the candidates, the 6 candidates, and what the ballot paper pretty much looks like. It will eventually see the X being put at one of them, and for each person that gets to vote. But we'll break this down a bit further on the show this evening. Let's get into our top story for today. Today, the snap news coming through from just a few minutes ago. And this is around the Patriotic Front Member of Parliament from Porokoso, Brian Mundubile, who has been elected as president of the Tonse Alliance and endorsed as the Alliance presidential candidate for the 2026 general elections. So what we saw was last Friday, Mundubile filed his nomination for the chairmanship of the Tonse Alliance, the faction that is led by Professor Dan Pule. And what we also got to see from that was, there was him and Dan Pule there, but I guess Mr. Mundubile has emerged victorious. But what we also saw earlier this week on Monday, the Tonse faction led by Given Lubinda held a meeting where the PF Deputy Secretary General for Administration, Celestine Mukandila, disclosed that among the resolutions that was made is that any party member who associated with the breakaway illegal Tonse shall be deemed to have exited the party.
Well, quite interesting happenings that we've seen the past few days. Obviously, it all began from what had happened a couple of weeks ago when Brian Mundubile did break away from that conclave that the Patriotic Front had been trying to create. Remember that what the PF were trying to do was to limit the number of people that were going to contest as party leaders among those presidential candidates. It was going on well, very well. I think the only way we knew about it was when Mwansa, who is the current Secretary General of the Tonse Alliance, faction of the Tonse Alliance, disclosed that we are forming something like a conclave that will allow for a very few of the candidates that already paid the 200,000 kwacha to be able to participate. Later on, we did see Brian Mundubile getting to suggest that this conclave that the Patriotic Front are building wants to technically knock me out. And so we saw him coming out of that conclave. Then later on, we did see Comrade Zumani Zimba getting to, with Danny Pule, obviously getting to announce that the Patriotic Front has been exited from the Tonse Alliance and that the roadmap soon will be announced in terms of the elections. Then we saw, the alliance obviously calling for nominations. We did see Dan Pule, like correctly put it, Chimweka, together with Brian Mundubile being the ones that expressed interest to contest the chairmanship of the Tonse Alliance, obviously paying a 50,000 kwacha's nomination fee. That was last week. Today, this evening, actually, we were shocked that they have announced who the winners of the Congress, are, and Brian Mundubile having to emerge as chairman of the Tonse Alliance and automatically becomes presidential candidate of the alliance. What this presents is a mountain of confusion. Already, there's 2 factions of the Tonse Alliance, one led by Given Lubinda, now also one led by Brian Mundubile. But also what's interesting is that both of them are Patriotic Front, leaders. And so you had an interview the other week with Comrade Mwansa, and the
earlier this week, actually.
Earlier this week,
Monday.
yeah, and the resolutions of that emergency, Patriotic Front Central Committee meeting was very clear that anyone who associates themselves with the illegal Tonse Alliance that was led by Dan Pule, acting chairman by then, would be deemed as automatically have been exited the Patriotic Front. And as things stand, Brian Mundubile has exited the Patriotic Front following the resolutions of the Tonse of the Patriotic Front. By the way,
is he? I feel like I must have given him like. Is he actually Professor Danny Pule? Is he actually
Professor Pastor Danny Pule?
Really? Okay, I thought I gave him a title of my own, but yeah, I guess we've seen who was emerged victorious from this. But again, it looks like it's quite the smart move because the Patriotic Front is operating under the Tonse Alliance. And I mean, part of this story is what is leading to what has happened in Kabwe, because this merges what has happened in Kabwe, because all this has happened around the same time. Mr. Mwansa maintains his seat. We see that the Kabwe High Court has exactly, which means that the Patriotic Front cannot go ahead with the convention. At least the faction led by Mr. Givenwinner cannot go ahead with the convention. And they are riding off the Tonse Alliance, who are using the FDD as a special purpose vehicle. And then the Tonse Alliance now electing Mr. Brian Mundubile. So essentially, they'll still have to fall under Mr. Brian Mundubile, isn't it?
For me, I mean, what presents very interesting here is it seems things seem to have worked out very well for Brian Mundubile. I mean, he is one of the candidates, PF presidential hopefuls. We will not be seeing a convention anytime soon, of course, because of the injunction. And now people are wondering. I mean, people already paid, and the candidates already paid lots of kwachas to
200,000
to the PF, and now you've got Tonse. But again, the question is, what is the legal standing of Tonse? Because we haven't seen any candidate that the Tonse Alliance has been able to. It's an alliance, but they haven't been able to participate in any election. So does this mean the candidate that they have now in Brian Mundubile, will he be able to participate? When you say he's a candidate for the 2026 election, is he really a candidate that will participate in the election? Will they field him as the candidate, the presidential candidate for 2026? I think this is one of the biggest questions that people seem to be asking. Who is the candidate? Who we will see on the ballot?
But they've said the candidate is Brian Mundubile.
But perhaps where Cheswa is going with this is of course now it's going to be under which political party? Because even when you talk about the special purpose vehicle here, right now we know that it's the FGD, but we can see that the NCP is about to probably officially make their way back to the Tonse Alliance. We've seen that they're already working together with the PF. He's admitted. I know he was on the Diamond Breakfast this morning where he's mentioned that. But from our understanding so far is that they're yet to make that official that he will be rejoining the alliance, because that was the initial special purpose vehicle. So it'll be interesting to see how all this is going to pan out.
But also, Andrew, I mean,
I'm just answer you, Cheswa. So the Tonse Alliance is an alliance of different political parties. The Tonse is not a political party, it's different political parties coming together and using one political party within these that have come together, to be able to field in the candidate. And I think it's not rocket science to obviously figure out that the FDD is what Brian Mundubile is going to use, for the elections in 2026. Also, this could be stemmed from the fact that the leader of FDD, Comrade Chimweka Banda, also participated in these elections that have just been announced today. He did participate as first chairman of the alliance, and obviously is going to give up that position, because I think the agreement was very simple, that whoever becomes Tonse Alliance chairperson will then become a candidate in the elections, and the FDD is the favorite so far to be used as a special purpose vehicle.
But Chief Mubana the FDD have not come to a conclusion that they will, whoever wins the chairmanship of Tonse automatically becomes, and I know where you're coming from, because the Tonse are looking to use one political party that they will use as a special purpose vehicle to participate in the election. But the FDD also need to go for a convention. So how will that pan out?
Well, obviously, Brian Mundubile will go for the convention. Or they will invite...
You seem to be one who's already seen how... everything seems to be working out
where Dr. Chris Zumanizimbo was explaining these things to us on this day. When Dr. Chris Zumanizimbo was explaining all these things that I was saying were being explained by Dr. Chris Zumanizimbo, who is the coordinator for the alliance. And he made it very clear and very simple.
But here's the biggest question. As we conclude on this subject, the biggest question is, can the Tonse Alliance survive without the backing of the Patriotic Front, at least the other faction of the Patriotic Front? That's the big question, because we've seen, for example, the PF in its faction form, then led by Edgar Lungu, leaving the United Kwacha Alliance. And we saw what happened, the relevance of the United Kwacha Alliance undeniably dropped. We saw that happen. They moved to Tonse Alliance. The Tonse Alliance became this attractive party. We saw this attractive alliance. We saw different parties going to Tonse Alliance, people joining, and we've seen the Tonse Alliance get huge results. They've pushed people into parliament. They've helped with that. Even with just the Chawama by-election, we cannot run away from the influence. And what is quite interesting from this is, if you look at the Chawama by-election, we hosted Mr. Mwansa, and from what he said is, the only people who contributed financially were the people that were able to see in Chawama for that particular by-election. That everyone in the opposition is celebrating. People in the opposition are celebrating, saying, we've done it. But yes, Mr. Mwansa says there was only a few people that were active there in terms of physical presence and financially as well. And now, if we're talking about the Tonse Alliance, the PF are taking pride in that because indeed, we saw people like Dr. Cheswa Kapasa, we saw people like Mr. Givenum himself, Mr. Mwansa, who were actively campaigning for the FDD candidate. We saw their presence and, let's be honest, it yielded results. So the big question is, if Mr. Givenum says, well, our side of the Patriotic Front is pulling out, are we still going to see Tonse having the same relevance, even with Mr. Brian Mundubile as the chairman? That's the big question here.
That's a big question. I think the only way that could be answered is if Brian Mundubile participates in an election. That's the only way we could know. At the moment, you put a very important question that must be answered. And without Chimba Kambwile, without Mwansa, without these other colleagues like Mano Mwamba, is Brian Mundubile able to, to ensure that this ship that he has carried with him is able to sell?
I was worried you were going to use a different word.
Is going to sell, and I think only time could tell. And what Brian Mundubile must be able to do now is not, to grow big-headed and say, I can do it on my own. I know that in the video that we're playing in the background, obviously at the acceptance speech, he did mention of the fact that I'm inviting the Patriotic Front leaders that are in the other faction of the Tonse Alliance to work together. Let's join hands. He did thank Professor, Pastor Danny Pule for the leadership that is being able to is exhibited during this moment when the alliance needed to have leadership. And so, if you ask me whether the Tonse Alliance will be the same without Chimba Kambwile, Mwansa, Givenum, clearly, it can't be the same unless these gentlemen are brought, to the alliance. But also, yesterday they did announce through their Deputy Secretary General Administration, Celestine Mkandila, that the Patriotic Front was going to go for the convention by end of February. Cheswa was asking how then will this be done with an injunction from Morgan Ngona of the other faction of the Patriotic Front that belongs to Robert Chabinga. It's very easy. The PF can go for a convention without using the name Patriotic Front or without using the letterhead of the Patriotic Front, but just go for a convention. All right? What the court has stopped is...
They'll be going for a convention as what? Just leaders?
Yes, they can go for a convention as leaders and elect. And I think this has been... they've been advised by so many people that go for a convention, just don't use PF. Just use any other name.
Because, and you're right.
Just say PF movement.
When Chimba Kambwile, when Mwansa, and all of these big figures in Chawama, they were not using PF regalia. They were using their face. They were sending a message.
They were actually. They were using the regalia. They were using regalia.
They were using regalia. But they were saying vote pay. Well,
in Kasama, no. In Kasama, no. Kasama, we've seen that they've been very, very deliberate about it. They've been very careful. And I actually watched one of their campaign rallies where the Lukasha member of parliament was he even mentioned that. And when he was talking to the people, he was saying the ECZ are so scared of the PF that they're stopping us. Of course, maybe just playing on the ignorance of people, and because this, we've reiterated, it was actually enacted under the Patriotic Front regime. But he was telling people that we are still PF, although we cannot wear the regalia here. But we'll give, and he was actually saying, when we win, we'll give out PF t-shirts to all of you. That is one of the statements he made, Mr. George Chisanga. But
why can't you just give out FDD t-shirts?
so they've been very careful, and they mentioned that I think they've been very aware, I think on both sides, because even the UPND, through the alliance, we'd see people like Dr. Nevas Mumba in Chawama using their the name of his NNP regalia also. So I think they've been cautioned now on both both sides. UPND Alliance members, Tonse Alliance members have been cautioned about it. But that's what's going on around this. We'll be finding out also how the UPND feel about the Tonse Alliance chairperson as we speak with the UPND deputy spokesperson, Mr. Elvis Nkandu. Now, speaking of Chawama, another story from today. The candidate who didn't win from the UPND, Mr. Morgan, also was saying, Ngona.
Seems very, very passionate about the people of Chawama. I mean, he goes back to flood victims.
Let's take a look at this. Let's listen to his prayer for the flood victims there.
Let's pray. Jehovah God, God of Israel, Father, I cry before your throne of mercy. Look at thy people, Jehovah, how they are suffering here because of poverty. Cholera has hit our area. Our houses are flooded, your people are suffering, Jehovah, and have nowhere to go because of poverty. Father, these are orphans, the vulnerable people. You are God of the fatherless. You are the father of the fatherless. You are the mother of the motherless. Jehovah Mulungu wanga, Mulungu wa Israel. Ambuya Mulungu, nipe mpako bana bako bamene bali kuno ubapangireko solution. God of Abednego, Meshach and Shadrach, God of Daniel, Jehovah, may you rise and rescue your people from this situation. God of Moses, God of Israel, this afternoon, we pray that these people here, Jehovah, a solution be provided for thy people. I invite the donor community, business community, the government of Republic of Zambia, Jehovah, Lankulani na wewe tuwaleteko help. Jehovah, in this house today, I'm leaving 1,000 kwacha for my people here, that they can find somewhere to go. I also leave 500 kwacha for the food. Jehovah, these are orphans. I'm planting a seed before you.
So that's Mr. Morgan Munda, who was the UPND candidate in the just ended Chawama by-election, getting to give a prayer for the flood victims. Well, it seems he's still been active within the constituency, even despite not winning. He still seems quite active in trying to help the flood victims within the area. I guess it's preparing for August 2026, isn't it?
What do you think?
Well, I think is the gentleman is a danger to himself and the UPND. There's so many videos that have surfaced of Morgan Munda. I remember having promised to employ journalists at ZNBC.
Were you one of them who was promised?
Well, he promised.
Because you seem quite disappointed.
All of us were promised jobs at ZNBC. Disappointed that he didn't win, so we would have jobs at ZNBC. But also, I think.
So that was one of his campaign messages.
Yeah, so it's cool. Well, yes.
So even if you're from outside the constituency,
if you're a journalist, yes.
So even if you're from outside, you're not from Chawama, you'd still be.
Yeah. Also, I think he was being quoted in the video of having said that the job that I'm about to be employed in as a member of parliament is nothing, because I have so many businesses in Chawama. I've got houses. Actually, my salary per month is over 2 million kwacha, and this job is just a service for me.
To the people.
So I've seen a number of people comment on this issue. One of them is Laura Miti. Says that thank God he didn't even win, because Parliament would have been chaotic. And I agree to a larger extent, because I think the gentleman doesn't hold his mouth. Whatever comes to his mouth, he speaks. I don't know how that was going to be handled, in the House. But it's good that he's doing what he's doing for the people of Chawama, that is continued even after losing the elections. He's continued to be being relevant. He's been known as one that used to cry at every campaign.
Well, he's got an election.
Rally.
He's got an election in just
crying.
under 6 months. He could be readopted, perhaps, if the UPND feel that he still needs a chance. He talks about 6,000, around 6,500 votes. He feels that's quite some substantial amount of votes.
Remember that wasn't first choice for the UPND. He was second choice, because the substantive choice of the UPND didn't have a valid voter's card. And so he was chosen as a by the way. And so obviously our first choice was Kantengwa. I don't know how that is going to play out because that Kantengwa guy happens to be much more popular than himself.
But I mean, you mentioned jobs.
That's how Andu says that Kantengwa guy is. Maybe the buddies of do you share a cordial relationship with the
No, he was on the Diamond Breakfast. He was being interviewed.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, I'm thinking how the jobs that were, because I mean, I saw how many people were disappointed when he lost around the jobs at ZNBC. And I'm thinking, also as Member of Parliament, how is he going to be connected with giving?
Speaks a lot towards the promises that sometimes politicians give, which
understanding the role of a member of parliament. Obviously, I don't know. Perhaps maybe the president told him that you're going to become minister of information. But even when you're minister of information,
you don't give people jobs at ZNBC. I mean, you don't see Honourable predicting you to get a job there. I mean, it's not just ZNBC. I mean, there's private. I'm wondering how it's going to happen, really.
Well. Also, who was probably wondering how it was going to happen was maybe some Zambians looking at the mining sector and whether the 1 million target was going to be reached in as far as copper production is concerned. This was another story that we got to see where government did announce that there's a copper production record through an increase in the year 2025, where we saw a rise by 8%, which is compared to the year 2024. So the total output reaching over 890,000 metric tons from over 825,000 metric tons, the previous year. So this was the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Mr. Poka, was just updating the nation yesterday about the improved production, which has been seen mostly from KCM, which is Konkola Copper Mines. We've seen it also from Mopani Copper Mines and Kansanshi Mine, as well as Lubambe Mines. So there's been an increase here. And this is despite the challenges that were faced in the year 2025.
Yeah, obviously, the president had an ambitious target of ensuring that the country hits 3 million metric tons in the next 10 years. And obviously, before the 10-year mark is even reached, we're seeing a lot of improvement in terms of the tonnage that we're producing annually as a country. We have also seen that under the administration of President Hakainde Hichilema, there's been a lot of investments that have come into the mining sector. The mines that were put on care and maintenance and those that were dead for a very long time have been working up on the copper board, and so yes, we are seeing that this ambitious goal that Hakainde Hichilema, the president, has will be achieved, even before the 10-year, projected time frame is even reached. And I think for us as a country is to be able to pride in ourselves that the mineral resource that produces much of our foreign exchange is doing so well, and I think it's because also of the policy around mining which has remained consistent the past 4 years, that has helped us even reach that 8% increase in terms of our tonnage, and I think which government must be commended for this.
Well, the campaigns have closed.
So before we carry on, Cheswa, just another point worth noting, even from the mineral growth. So what we've seen is there's been an increase in cobalt production, about 61%. I think that's quite huge. Gold has increased by 17%. There's been a lot of focus around gold mining in this country. I think people are going to realize that we're actually blessed with a good amount of gold. So that's something to pay attention to. Coal also by 25%. If you remember when Aliko Dangote actually came in the country, he spoke about this, that we have we're blessed with coal in this country, and we shouldn't even be experiencing load shedding the way we are. With the coal that we have here. So he spoke about that. So these are statistics that we should be able to put into consideration with the facts that have come out from here with the mineral wealth that we have. But what is also interesting from the statistics that were mentioned is how artisanal mining has increased. The artisanal mining rights also rose by 1,068 in 2025, representing a 57.06 growth. So there's been a lot of talk around artisanal mining. We've heard a lot of people complaining and how there's been a lot of work to formalize this. We've seen, for example, the minister himself go around, issue some of these documents that ensure that people get into artisanal mining. So there's been an increase from 2024 heading into 2025, which has impressed quite a number of people. But also a total number of 2,375 mining licenses which have been granted in the year 2025, which is an increase from the year 2024. And what we're seeing is that there's a number of Zambians who are being involved even with these mining licenses that are being granted. So I think from that, we're able to see that there's more involvement of Zambian people, but also even from the artisanal side of things, which has been a huge concern in this country. We're seeing that there is an increment there and people are getting to benefit from that.
I think one of the things that I've noted, one thing that I think the minister must be commended for also has been the issue around creating cooperatives around the mining sector. I think that's a good decision to do that, because I mean there's a lot of fighting within the mining space. Others feel they don't have licenses. Others, it's just one part of the country that is being given licenses and so on. So I love the fact that there's been quite a balance. I mean, Honorable Kabuso is one that has received quite some criticism around the mining sector, but I think that he's been able to balance promoting, giving people licenses, promoting cooperatives, but also just educating people around how to safe mine, because it's another thing to just push people away, but also it's another thing to be able to educate how people need to conduct, safe mining.
Well, Cheswa was talking about the campaigns in Kasama coming to an end earlier today. We'll be talking about this up next with our guest, who is Upnd Deputy Spokesperson, Elvis Nkandu.
But to move ahead, to rise up and achieve, to conquer. Introducing Kung Fu Energy Drink, your push for the next conquests. Kung Fu Energy Drink, master the power.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Iwe, ngia ibeva mkashana kaboyo kubutuluke fikwatini tute. Makeup. Now Ishiva, inedionsenga ndea kuchalo nda making sure it's ninchita moisturize skin nimpopoka. Mbomfia Romeo glycerin. Ukupopoka chani.
Action!
Romeo for naturally pure, radiant skin.
Unit Turtle Industries is the king of awards. No. Turtle Awards is all about making you the king, the queen, the winner, the champion, with trophies, cups, medals, shields, figurines, all down to quality and perfection just for you. We also produce excellent foundation stones, signage, date stamps, and company seals. For your organization, event, tournament, team, launch, contest, competition, graduation, and all sorts of awards and championships, get in touch with us on 0211-847175 or WhatsApp 09755795558. Email info@unitturtle.com. Visit the website www.unitturtle.com. Turtle Awards, a way of appreciation by Uni Turtle Industries.
Grandpa, what's that?
This right here, this is for you. For him. For her. For them. For the ones on the move. And the ones who sit still. The ones up high. For the ones on holiday. This is pure. This is refreshing. This is Vatra, made for life.
So earlier today, at 18 hours, campaigns officially ended, and all eyes are on Kasama to see how they'll respond to the campaigns that have been going on. Tomorrow morning, voters head to the polls to elect a new mayor. This by-election comes at a politically sensitive time for the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, who failed to secure a win in the recent Chawama by-election. The Tonse Alliance, who scooped the Chawama seat through their special purpose vehicle, the Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD, are saying that the win in Chawama has set the tone for August 2026 and more recently in Kasama tomorrow. What does the UPND have to say about this? We are joined this evening via phone call by the UPND spokesperson who is currently in Kasama, Mr. Elvis Nkandu. Good evening and thank you for joining us on Diamond Live tonight.
Very much, Chimweka. Good evening.
First of all, let's look at campaigns coming to an end as of 18 hours earlier today. How confident are you as a UPND heading into polling day tomorrow?
Yeah, first I want to start by talking about the Chawama issue that you had already alluded to.
Okay.
I want to say that Chawama is Chawama, Kasama is Kasama. So what is obtaining in Kasama is a different ballgame altogether. So if people want to bury their heads in the sand and think that because they won in Chawama, then it's plain sailing to win in Kasama, then they should be blessed themselves for a rude shock.
No, but just on that, Mr. Nkandu, you say Kasama is Kasama, Chawama is Chawama, but if you look at, for example, statistics themselves, in both places, one thing they share in common is that since 2006, both places have been led by Patriotic Front members of parliament. For Kasama, in fact, both constituencies, Lukashi as well as Kasama Central, have been strongholds of the Patriotic Front, and probably that's what gives the Tonse Alliance that confidence. So what are the chances of this going otherwise from your campaigns?
Yeah, I want to repeat to Chimweka that Chawama is Chawama and Kasama is Kasama. Why I'm saying that, in fact, I haven't even talked about how confident we are. But the fact that in 2021, it was very difficult to talk to the voters, talk to the electorate in Kasama, I think that tells you a story that now we have every access to the voters. And in 2021, people couldn't buy into our manifesto, people couldn't buy into our messages because it was very, very difficult for us to campaign. Now that we have the freedoms now to talk to the voters. And they are able now to understand what we have done for the people of Zambia ever since we assumed office. So that's why I'm saying that the message has sunk into a lot of people who didn't know, some of them, what UPND stands for because of lack of information. And now, when we are talking about the freedoms, first we need also to start by saying that the freedom that we are enjoying today should be attributed to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who has told all of us not to get involved in violent activities. And now, the campaigns have been very, very peaceful. The only incident that I can talk about is an incident where the CF, or maybe let me not even mention them, a certain political party had to leave 1,500 to a lot of people, which resulted in some physical confrontation. At the end of the day, the house was destroyed. So I think for me that is the incident that I saw in Kasama. So because of the freedoms that we have enjoyed, where every political party has some freedoms to talk to the voters and everything, I believe that come tomorrow, UPND will emerge victorious because of the efforts that we have put in place, and also what we have explained to the people that we are not being explained to the people of Zambia. You can imagine, Chimweka, that this is a council that has all PF councillors. They are the PF mayor. They still have 2 members of parliament who are from the opposition. Now you can imagine what they have been resolving in the council, the decisions that they have been making in the council. I think those decisions have led, for the people now to understand what it stands for as UPND and why Kasama is lagging behind in terms of development, because they don't want to do something correctly, which could also be attributed to this government. So they want at any given chance not to allow development to take root in Kasama, because for them they think that if that is done, then they are giving more power, I would say, and also things that people may think that this government is working. So I think that with what we have done so far, with the explanations that has been done, we are very optimistic that come tomorrow, UPN will carry the day.
Honorable, you're speaking to Andrew Mwansa. I'd like to find out this. What message are you telling the people of Kasama that you didn't tell the people of Chawama? The people of Chawama rejected you on the 15th of January.
Once I said that I want to repeat that what is being done in Kasama is a different ballgame altogether. Don't compare it with Chawama. In fact, I was not in Chawama myself. A lot of the people that are here were not in Chawama. So it means that
so you have a stronger team in Chawama. You have a stronger team in Kasama?
Come again?
You have a stronger team in Kasama than the one which was in Chawama?
I'm not saying we have a stronger team, apart from saying that we have different people. We have different people in Kasama, and also we learned lessons from Chawama. So obviously, when we lost Chawama, we had to come back on a drawing board and also look at what led UPND to lose that particular election. So when we came to Kasama, with that in mind, we knew that we need to do things correctly. Now, you also asked me about the message. The message is very, very clear. We are telling our people that today, people, especially this is January, when people used to have headaches to find money for their children to take them to school, now there is free education here in Kasama. People used to carry garden chairs, those that could afford, for their children to school. Some children were sitting on the floor. Today, children are sitting on the desks. That's the message. Number 3, I would want to say that when we assumed the office ourselves, we found only 68,000 beneficiaries on social cash transfer. As I'm talking to you now, we have now, since 2021, we have 180,000 benefiting from social cash transfer, from 68,000. And again this year, we have increased social cash transfer to another 55,000. So Northern Province will have about 215,000 beneficiaries of social cash transfer. We are explaining that. Again,
but I'd like to find out this before Cheswa comes in, Honourable, that the same level of confidence that you're going with in Kasama is exactly the level of confidence that those that were campaigning for your party in Chawama had. What will it mean if you lose again tomorrow, Honourable, for the political future of the UPND, but also you being an experienced politician? Obviously, I know for a fact that for all the by-elections that you've campaigned for, you've not lost so far. You, as Elvis Nkandu, you've produced a win. But what will it mean if the UPND again loses Kasama in a general election year?
Losing an election, a by-election for some of us is not in our DNA. That I want to say. That's why we put more effort when we are signed by the president to go and represent him. We put more effort to make sure that we win that particular by-election. Now, in a democracy, my friend, I think that's where we're getting it all wrong. In a democracy, you can lose some and you can win some. So that should not be litmus paper for August 2026. For me, even winning an election here in Kasama should not be litmus test that now we need also to be very comfortable that we are winning in August. Even if I know that there is a lot that we have done and we are likely to win the 2026 election. But I want also to say that what we are doing in Kasama should not be a litmus test for us to win in August. Because our colleagues, when they won Chawama, it's like they won the general election in August 2026. That is not the case.
What will it mean, Honourable? If you lose Kasama, what will it mean for you as UPND?
Obviously, I want to say that. Thank you very much for saying if we lose Kasama. I've just told you that in a democracy, you can win some and lose some. But obviously, if we lose Kasama, definitely we'll be very, very saddened because the message that we have delivered to the people of Kasama, for me, I cannot even think of losing because I think the message has sunk. You've seen how we have traversed these two constituencies, and the message has been very, very clear. The people of Kasama, I think, have heard something that they were lacking, something that they didn't hear before we could come for this by-election. Remember that it's not everyone. So sometimes I feel very bad when people think that when they're on social media, they think that every citizen in Kasama is also glued to social media. I want to tell you that less than 10% of the people of Kasama goes on social media. Maybe less than 10% also knows that to own radio sets. So all we need to be doing is to get into these peri-urban areas, rural areas. We go physical and explain what we have done to the people of Zambia so that they will be able to understand. That's why I'm very confident. That's why I'm very confident that we are going to scoop this seat because we have reached out to the people that have never heard what this government has done. Apart from what they experience, like social cash transfer, free education, some of these they have experienced them. But you can imagine these are the people that may not understand that the economy is growing, which we got when we came to office from a negative 2.8% to 5-6% growth. These are things that they didn't know. Now it has to take us now to get to them physically and explain to them. Minister, so that is why I'm saying that we're so confident of scooping this.
As you are confident,
the message is clear.
As you are confident to win the election tomorrow, well, I just want to find out from you. You seem to be painting a picture to Zambians that that people that were in Chawama didn't seem to have done quite a good job, because obviously you also mentioned that you were not there, and it's not in your DNA to lose elections. I just want to find out, because obviously you did sit as a team after the Chawama loss. What was your post-mortem like? What do you think are some of the things that, well, perhaps led you not to pick Chawama? Because, I mean, obviously it was a very tight election there. What have you learned from there?
So I want to repeat myself. The people that were in Chawama are not the same individuals that in Kasama. That does not mean that those that were there didn't do anything, or those that are here are the best. All we are saying is that we have different team now here in Kasama. We have also picked some lessons from Chawama. There is no way I will be on the live on the TV and start saying that these are our strategies that will make us win Kasama. I can't do that.
Well, I'm not asking you about
when we came back from Chawama, we had to sit down. We looked at what led to the loss. Then from there, we had to pick it up and see how best we can polish it.
Which was, and I was asking you what do you think led to your loss? I'm not asking you about the strategies, Minister. I'm asking you about what do you think led to the loss in Chawama?
This is what I'm saying. It's something that I cannot divulge. It's something that I cannot divulge to the public, apart from saying that the party learned one or two lessons from Chawama, and we have now gone into another route that could lead us to winning of Kasama. So I'm so sorry, Mwansa or Chimweka, that I cannot divulge what really happened in
okay, that's fair.
Or apart from saying that we lost Chawama and we have learned lessons from Chawama, from the lessons that are well learned, then we are going to make sure that we polish what our colleagues did there, and also now.
Okay. Now,
polishing such.
Now, Mr. Nkandu,
didn't go well.
I've been taking note of the campaigns that have been going on in Kasama. I've been seeing how the different candidates have been campaigning, including yourself. And I noticed that in one of your campaigns, you used the Bemba parable in a nutshell, loosely in a nutshell, to insinuate that there could be a possibility that you as a UPND are finding joy in the instability of the opposition. You use the parable of, a single man seeing a couple that is separating. Is this?
Don't
Well, just to translate it for maybe those who would not have understood that. But is this in a way? Is this you confirming that as the UPND you're enjoying the confusion that you're seeing, the instability that's going on in the opposition?
Chimweka, those are adults. Those are adults. We are on record as UPND trying to advise them that for us we need a very strong opposition. So put your house in order. Now we have been talking to people with deaf ears. They cannot listen. So we don't have time to always continue advising people who cannot be advised. If they want to continue quarreling, if they want to continue insulting each other, I think we have a lot of things to do to better the lives of our people than always cancel adults who cannot be cancelled. We are now tired of also cancelling those adults because, as I said, we are on record trying to advise them to put their house in order. But if they don't want to listen, we cannot continue advising people who cannot listen. As a result, we need now to concentrate on things that matter to Zambian people. Now, when we are talking about that parable, obviously, what I was saying is that there are two scenarios. Number one, the confusion that is in the opposition. Obviously, for us as UPND, as I said, we cannot continue advising them. Let them continue doing what they know best. That is quarreling, insulting each other, and we do something correctly by bettering the lives of our people. Number two, how many political parties stood in Chawama? How many political parties are competing in Kasama? Here we have about 6 political parties. Now you can imagine these 5 are competing. They want also to get votes from the same pool of opposition. And for us, we have our own votes who are loyal voters, and also getting from the same opposition voters. So it means that we may be very safe because we have our loyal voters, and also plus the ones that we are getting from the opposition, we are likely to carry the day. For them, they have only one pool that they are getting votes from. That's what it means. So let them continue fielding so many candidates. At the end of the day, the benefits will come to us.
So earlier today, we just like to also get your comment on this. We've seen that the Tonse Alliance have elected Mr. Brian Mundubile as chairman of the alliance. Do you see him and endorsed him as presidential candidate into 2026? Do you see him as a good opening for President Hakainde Hichilema?
Chimweka, when you are in a ring, or when you want to play football. For instance, I'll give an example of Rwanda national team. When you qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations, or the World Cup finals, definitely you meet weaker opponents. You may also meet stronger opponents. We are very much aware that in this game that we are participating in, we could meet anyone. So obviously, whoever will be fielded by, I don't know which alliance, for us, that is not an issue. Because we cannot stand alone as UPND. We know that our sole candidate for us is President Hakainde Hichilema. So whosoever wants to compete with Hakainde Hichilema is very much welcome. So if it Tonse Alliance or something have elected the Mundubile, it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us. We'll take him on and make sure that we wallop him and make sure that we win 2026. If they field Mundubile or any other person, we are going to work very hard, better the lives of our people, so that we continue gaining that confidence and the trust from our people, and we'll be able to win that election with whosoever that will compete with Hakainde Hichilema.
Mr. Nkandu, I also mentioned that I've been monitoring and observing the campaigns on both sides, from the opposition and from you as the ruling party. I did make reference to one of the campaigns you did, but from the opposition, one thing that was noticed was through the PF aspiring president, Dr. Chimweka Kamwidi, who was encouraging voters to denounce you as the UPND for not attaching significance to the Chimkulu's wife's funeral, alleging that, number one, the fact that President Hichilema was not there means that he didn't take this as very significant. The vice president who attended the funeral of the late mayor, Teresa Kolala, was not present for this particular funeral. And for you as the ministers who attended the church service, Dr. Chimweka Kamwidi claims that only one of you actually made it to the burial. Therefore, you as the UPND government did not attach seriousness to this. Therefore, the people in Kasama should not vote for the UPND. What's your comment on this?
Now, I think the Rwandan people now are able to see how petty people could be. The Rwandan people now can see through in Dr. Kamwiri's statement. Really, in Bemba we say Chidota Chipwa. I don't want to say what we did to that particular funeral, what President Hakainde did to that particular funeral, though I know everything that was done by President Hakainde Hichilema. Want to undo ukulosha, ustembogoshi. You take care of that particular funeral by giving food, giving them everything, even when we are not there. Now, what Kamwidi was saying, that's what I'm saying. These people are very petty. And I want to tell the Rwandan people that besides Kamwidi understands that very poor. Politics they are very different from the politics of today. That man has expired, but it will be difficult for him to admit that his politics has expired. Now, look at what happened. How many ministers were at that particular funeral? You count me, you count Mamutai, you count Mamuvanga, you also count the Honorable Nzo, you also count the Honorable Peter P. from Chipata. We also had the provincial minister for the province, and Honorable Chipokamu. More than 7 cabinet ministers were there. Surely, we can only think about the vice president. What is so special about the vice president to attend that particular funeral? As we are cabinet ministers, we were sent there by these two, the president of the Republic of Zambia and his vice, because the government was well represented. Apart from that, we received also Minister of Finance, who attended that funeral, who went there. We also had Jack Mwimbu, Home Affairs, who went there. We also had the Defense Minister, who went there. Unless the Vice President is there, that's when Kambwili was thinking that now, to Aloshan Chichiliro. No, I think that
as we conclude, Honorable Minister.
And the people of Kasama should not also think that because those didn't come, then they will not vote for us.
It's good you're speaking about ministers, but Honorable, it's good you're speaking about ministers, because what was making headlines the past few weeks was the fact that you ministers are let down to President Hakainde Hichilema. This was said by Gilbert Lisson, so the National Youth Chairperson. In fact, he says that part of why you could have lost Chawama is because some of you didn't come and help out to campaign. We've seen over 7 ministers flock into Kasama. Is it you responding to what Chairman Luswaniso said? And do you agree that some of you are let down to President Hakainde Hichilema and you're playing with power?
Our youth chairman had his own opinion. But this political party is very mature. We can't start exchanging words with the youth chairman using the media. We have a very good channel of communication. If the youth chairman has that opinion, then definitely he knows what he's talking about. But I think I will not be here talking about what my youth chairman said, because that was his own opinion. And I cannot start answering him or denouncing him or agreeing with him over that particular statement, because we have a very good channel of communication where we can deal with our own issues. Those are internal matters. If he is aggrieved, then we'll be able to sort them out ourselves. Than me denouncing him or agreeing with
do you think he didn't follow the right channels of communication?
I will not say he didn't follow the channel of communication. I'm just saying that he has his own opinion. But I believe that internal matters should humbly be handled internally.
Minister, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's edition of Diamond Live.
You are always welcome.
Thank you very much.
Before I did,
yes,
I want to thank the people of Kasama for the manner in which they have conducted themselves on this particular by-election. The election has been very peaceful, but you need first to attribute everything to one man, President Hakainde Hichilema, who denounces violence. So what we are experiencing today, and I want to appeal to the people of Zambia, if there is something that they should be retain Hakainde Hichilema on, is the peace that we have enjoyed, the freedoms that we are enjoying. So thank you very much for giving us that particular president, Hakainde Hichilema, who has made it possible that the elections can even be won without shedding blood. Elections can be won or lost without shedding blood. This is how it should be.
All right. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Elvis Nkandu. He's been our guest tonight on Diamond Live. He's the Upnd Deputy Spokesperson, just giving an account of what the situation has been in Chawama, in Kasama rather, but also touching on a bit in Kasama. He says, Chawama rather, says Kasama and Chawama, different places, and the different people who have been campaigning there are expected to deliver different results. That's something we'll be able to see in just a few days. The Electoral Commission of Zambia did announce that the results should be ready by Friday, and this is owing to the fact that there have been some challenges in terms of mobility and accessibility of certain areas within Kasama district. We've seen choppers having to be used even in delivering the ballot papers, as well as other essential items needed for the voting, including the polling staff who've had to be moved through the choppers there. And because of that mobility challenge and the weather challenges as well, the results expected to be ready by Friday. And as Diamond Media, will keep you updated for everything that you need to know. My name is Chimweka. Chileshe.
Chimweka, Chawama is Chawama, Kasama is Kasama. Those were the words.
Diamond is Diamond.
Diamond is Diamond. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's edition of Diamond Live. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
And August will be August. Thank you. I'm Cheswa.
Not Cheswa.
Five.